All right, so social and global issues rooted in ideology. Doesn't have to be global either, but I mean, it can be. So it definitely has to be social. All right, so rather than arguing for a change in policy, I want you to pinpoint a belief that is at the source of a problem in society and build an argument on why that belief is at the source of the problem, why it is bad or wrong, and what belief would solve that problem and why people should follow that belief. You're also building an argument about that thing actually being a problem. So it's twofold. What exactly is this problem? You need to give proof of how this thing's a problem, but then you're also going to try and make connections of how the thing is connected to a belief, meaning this belief is problematic, kind of thing. It doesn't have to be a belief, but maybe like an ideology. However you want to word that, it's really up to you. And you can check with me to see what you want to work with. Try and pick something that's fun to you, as fun as possible. So here's some example topics and then example beliefs or ideologies that you can connect this with. So we've got owning or breeding pets. That's definitely a topic. You guys know what PETA is? Yeah? So apart from like doing weird things like throwing blood at people, wearing leather or fur coats and stuff, or having celebrities model nude and saying like, I don't need animal products or something like that, they have ideas about owning animals or pets. Maybe you sympathize with that, or maybe you don't. So remember, if you have no care about that subject at all, then don't go over it. Don't try to use it. But maybe one of these things is important to you. And it doesn't have to be exactly like this. Just talking with this first one, for example, owning or breeding pets. First of all, there's animals that maybe you would think should never be pets. Like I've owned chameleons before, quite a few, and I tried to breed them one time because you could sell them for a lot. But honestly, chameleons, like they will die from stress. And they get so stressed from just people seeing them. Like if you even acknowledge the thing and make it think that you can see it, it will be so stressed that it won't want to do anything and it won't eat and stuff like that, and they'll just straight up die from stress. Do you think that that's a kind of animal that you should own? Like there's so many things. Like you can't just have a water bowl for it. You have to have water dropping off of leaflets. It has to be water in motion. And then they have to eat live food. The terrarium has to be crazy and it consumes your entire life. And then also this pet isn't even happy, right? So, I mean, you could be talking about different animals. So I have a mutt from a shelter. And every time I go to the park, someone's like, that's a cool dog, where'd you get it? And I say, it's a shelter dog, and she's awesome. And there's huge emphasis on getting a breed and having it be a purebred with all this pedigree and everything like that. You got papers, and then you can breed them and stuff like that and make money off of it. But have you ever been to a shelter? Do you know how many animals are being like just euthanized in shelters every day? Like massive amounts. Pit bulls used to be the big one. Now it's huskies, actually, because everyone wanted to own a husky because they look like wolves, right? And you can't own a wolf because wolves have to eat raw food, and there's all kinds of liability, and you have to have crazy enclosures and licensing and everything like that. But people want the idea of it. So you got to think about it like, yeah, what kind of ideology is behind that? Like, why does your dog still have to have its balls? Does it really need to reproduce? Are there not enough other animals out there? Do you have to make money off of them? Once you reproduce them and then sell them, are you going to be able to sell them all? Are they going to have a good quality of life? How about this? All the dog breeds that we have today, I mean, not all of them, the smaller ones not so much, but all the big dog breeds, they were all made for a purpose. They were designed. They were bred eugenically, like Hitler tried to breed humans. They were bred to do a job, yeah? So if you live in a small apartment and you're always at work every day and you don't have time to walk your dog and you get mad because your dog's chewing your shoes up and wrecking everything in the house, your dog's not a bad dog, you're a piece of shit owner, is an argument that someone could make. Because that dog needs to work. That dog needs a job, and the chances of it needing to run like 10 miles a day for like a German Shepherd or a Doberman Pinscher or like any of those big breeds. How are you going to put that on the dog? But people do this, right? They need some macho dog. Like, if you don't have time for that, it doesn't matter how much you can bench press. Get a freaking Chihuahua, right? Or not at all, because Chihuahuas, does anyone have a Chihuahua that shakes uncontrollably? No, not yours? I don't know what it is, but some breeds of Chihuahua, I think it's like the apple-headed ones and stuff, like where their head is so freaking huge and their body's so small, it's because you're trying to make the thing smaller and smaller, because we breed them now to look cute, right? And it has nothing to do with if that's beneficial for the animal, if it makes it smarter or anything. No, we make these Scottish fold cats that are so freaking cute in all those YouTube videos, and they're also extremely dumb. They're the cats that do all the dumbest things that you're like, wow, that cat is definitely going to try and jump over there and it's definitely not going to make it, and then it doesn't, and then you laugh, or it knocks crap off of the shelf for no reason because it's an idiot, or because it's kept in your house and it doesn't get to go outside, and these are actually predator animals, and you give it food in a dish. Do you see how there's all these things you could talk about here? What is the ideology here? I mean, sure, you could just say selfish, but there could be something more. Do we have dominion over nature? What does that even mean? Like, sure, we can conquer the world. We can conquer all of the animals in the animal kingdom. What does it mean to be over them or to have complete control over them? Does that mean to do whatever the hell we want with them? To fight them like Mike Vick? Or does that mean that we have a obligation to take care of them? And you could say that this is rooted in something else. Maybe it's rooted in a religious belief. Probably is. But you don't have to go that far. It depends on how far you want to take it. Just make sure that you're able to get specific into that issue. Should I just take this off because I already did it for you? So the rest of the class is just going to be you trying to figure out a good one to work with, and us talking over it in class as much as, like, if you're being smart about this, you want to talk to me about any of these things that you have ideas about. So you can talk about anything we've already covered. You can talk about stuff that you're already learning about in other classes, so you have insight into it already. If it's already something you have a hobby or a passion for, or you know that you're going to do this for your actual degree, then pick that topic. So twofold here. You want to be able to build your understanding of that field as much as you can as you're going to get a degree or whatever. But then also, you should probably know what you believe about that stuff. That's why I'm giving you this, because it definitely makes you critically think about it. And then also, I don't want you to leave my class becoming the people that I hate on the internet. I'm not forcing you to like grapple with anything you don't want to. Just if there's something you're like, ooh, this hits too close to home and I don't want to do this, then that's fine too. Pick something that's more lighthearted. Yeah, the eating meat thing, right? And the way that we raise livestock, that could be one.
Together as one, or it says or, so but they kind of go hand.
Well, so I don't want to just limit it, right? The whole how we raise our stuff in general. You could go so far as making a claim that we just shouldn't eat meat at all, or you could talk about, well, why can't we just give it a better life?
Right.
And by the way, your food would be healthier and you would be eating really good. Like, if you look at how they care about eggs in Japan, there's like $70 eggs, not for the dozen, like for one egg. Depending on the quality, like they have such varying degrees of quality in egg there, where some eggs are so healthy because of what they feed the chicken that you can like pick it up by the yolk and it won't break. It's like darker, richer colors. There's actually flavor to it that you're like, how's this flavor there? And they're like, I feed my chickens nothing but like flax and peppers and stuff like that. And so it actually will flavor the egg. It's crazy, right? So don't tell me, right, that you can't actually enhance the nutrition, not just for getting the animal to have a better lifestyle, but for you to actually be healthier. All the animals that we raise like this are pretty much, we just fill them. We just fill them and make them big, and there's nothing about nutrients there. Your milk is filled with pus. All right. Unless it's organic, grass-fed, blah, 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 in a glass bottle, costs like $14 a gallon. and you have to return the glass bottle. So yeah, there's all kinds of things, and some of these could switch over, like maybe there's an ideology about class and culture or whatever. You're gonna need to be specific about these things, like what is it about capitalism that's good or bad? And you would say that in contrast probably to whatever the other ideology is that you're working with. What is it about consumerism specifically that you're talking about? There's gonna be an ideology about that. It's not necessarily the ideology in and of itself. Right? What is it about becoming fulfilled or made happy or better than someone else by buying things? There's something in there, right? You guys got any questions about this so far? This is all you have to do for the rest of the semester.
Do you have like online RPs?
Yeah, sure, fine, you do. There's a couple more readings, but it's just about this kind of thing. And so when we go over other topics, this explained one on weed. So does everyone here have Netflix or know someone that has Netflix? So you should, and if you don't have a homie that can kick you down the password for like a day, you could actually go and look at their article with links to it too instead. But it's way easier to just watch the 20-minute thing. By the way, this is a topic we can talk about. What is it about weed? And it can go towards policy. Some of the problems are policy, maybe, like 21. You think it should be 21, the age for smoking weed? Yeah? Your brain's not done developing until you're 25, at least. Like your frontal cortex is not even done. You're not even fully an adult. Do you think people should be able to vote if they're not even fully done developing their brains? That's frightening too. Anyways, we'll get into that. So it's in the season 1, episode 12, and it's just called Weed. So you're going to watch that one, and it gives you like the background and how we've developed it and what we're doing with it now and what any science is that we have and legislation that either gets us to or not to be able to go further with it or whatever. It covers a lot of ground with that. So another thing, you probably want to see this stuff. These are just like simple directions. Identify a commonly disputed societal problem and make a claim about an ideology that it is rooted in. Take a clear stance on what is bad or wrong about the problem and the ideology. Explain your criteria on why you take that stance. Support your argument with facts and reasoning that will compel others to take your side. And then end with what we should do about it. Can it just be us changing our thinking? Like that one dude did to like convince all those Klan members to not be in the Klan? Or is it something that we actually need policy for because people are freaking scary and we can't trust them? By the way, are you people?
No.
Other people, not us. Yeah, 6 pages. At least 6 outside sources. 1 can be an in-class reading, I guess, if you really need. Works cited page, obviously. Annotated bib. 4 sources again. It doesn't have to be all of them. And then MLA, of course. So I've tried, which probably haven't done too good this semester, to make sure that you guys don't know what I believe. But on this last essay, it doesn't matter, because if anything, I should give you guys an example of like how to do this. So I'm going to tell you guys what I believe on stuff, but then also the final is pretty much you get to pick one thing. I'm going to talk and tell you guys how I have to do this same exact thing that I'm asking you guys to do on all this stuff. I'm going to walk through that with you as well. But then on the last day, you get to pick one of the things that I talked about the next 3 weeks and argue against it for the final. It's like 20 points. Also, I mean, it's my opinion versus yours. It's not like I can give you a bad grade on that so long as you actually make arguments where you're reasoning about it. Just 1 page shouldn't be that big of a deal. Yeah? Cool. If this is hard and not enjoyable, then I think you're doing it wrong. And I know that's a dumb thing to say, like, why would I enjoy this? You're making me do work. Like, imagine if you knew what you actually believed about stuff. Do you know how powerful that would be for you? Not for me, for you. Can you imagine if you like actually had an opinion about something? You would totally get laid. Because that's what guys care about, right? Just that's it. That's all you're thinking about, except for video games. And then video games and that. No? All right, whatever. Can't get STDs from porn, so, right? No. It's gonna get even worse. It's gonna get so much worse. Yeah, actually, you can get something from porn, though, like ideas of what things are supposed to be like and how you should treat women. So yeah, it should be clear enough, but I want to make it a little bit clearer, help you guys out. All right, so you're probably going to want to know what you believe politically, because we're talking policy here too. This is where you are if you just don't know anything or care at all. Yeet. If you say yeet, then you're here. Okay, so we've got the more right you are, conservative, Republican, whatever, you are wanting more economic freedom, so less government in your money. Less government in your money, but more government in your morals. In a way. See, it kind of starts getting complicated now. But when you go this way, you are getting more government in your money and less government in your morals. And see, it's kind of turning back on itself now, because now there are morals. So first it was just let us do what we want with our bodies and with our sexuality and stuff like that. It's funny. What do you think? The reason why you're on that side is probably because of religion, because of abortion and homosexuality. Those are like the two main ones. And then on this side, it's likewise over those things. Those are huge issues, obviously immigration too on both sides there. But you notice that it's a lot more the government taking control of how we do that stuff, and then doing that through taking our resources, our money, more taxes and stuff like that. You guys are pretty familiar with that. And then you never want to talk to anyone who's here. This is just like total control, like 1984 people. Like people who are like, the government's awesome in 1984 kind of thing. There's no one really that you'd want to talk to who's like that. And then up here, when we're talking about like more freedom, it's less government all around is this up here. So understand your personal philosophies will affect this, your political philosophy. So do you guys know where you are? Yeah? Where do you think I am? You think I'm this asshole. Is it because I said you definitely don't want to talk to this guy and you're like, well, I don't want to talk to you? Is that what happened there?
So like you were left and then like a little bit towards status leaning. Oh no, wait, no, opposite, I mean libertarian. Wait, no?
I would say all the way left. I mean, not all the way to the left, but.
That's your guess? Raise your hand if you think I'm right over here.
You like
A little more
giving left and right, or like
Think I'm like right there?
right there.
Or here, or here?
Right there.
probably over there and then up maybe.
Yeah.
Man, probably lower because like
Because of the...
you know like no, it's like greater economic freedom means like hell yeah, monopolies and billionaires. I love those.
Yeah, and I am white and male.
I don't think
It's
that's
true.
where you're going with it. So like
No.
when status is like complete government control,
Yeah.
there is an aspect of it that's like, hey, maybe this should be regulated a little bit more. Maybe Bill Gates shouldn't have $107 billion to his name.
And I do talk trash on Bill Gates. It's
so
true.
like, I would put it a little bit off kilter from, or going towards the bottom.
Anywhere else? Yeah, okay, I'm up here. I'm this. I'm a libertarian. Totally a libertarian. And yes, I did vote libertarian, which people were pissed off by that, even people who said they were libertarians. But when it comes to your options, oh boy. Do you think Hillary really cares about black people or about anyone who's not rich like her? Do you think she didn't kill a bunch of people? Now Trump is a horrible gangster too. See, I think they're all disgusting, horrible people, and you're never getting a good choice. I think Bernie wasn't a good choice either. I think he was garbage. I think the very thing that he was running on, auditing the Federal Reserve, he was the one deciding vote against auditing the Federal Reserve when Ron Paul tried to do that. So why would he run under the platform of audit the Federal Reserve, which is a great thing to do because they're printing money out of nowhere and they have no accountability because we're not on the gold standard. So why would that guy do it? Because they're playing us. You're all getting played. I'm getting played. That's why I'm up there. And I don't know, maybe one of you guys can run for president one day and not be a crook. But by the time anyone gets to that point of office where they could actually run for president, they've already been so bought out by everyone.
By the time you get up there, it's kind of like, are you not going to listen to the dudes in the cloaks and capes?
No, they already own you. They already own you.
That appear from the shadows?
Yeah, so you are already a criminal by that point, is what I would say. But, maybe that's just conspiracy theory foil hat dude, which that's what I went to a Halloween party as. I made a tinfoil hat and then just talked like my normal self. So it worked perfectly. Yeah, so, there are things within the Libertarian Party. If you seriously agree with everything someone says, you're not listening, you're not paying attention. There are things that I totally disagree with, but it's because my criteria is different than theirs on something.